What is going on, my fellow nerds? Abrasive Otter here, back from the dead with a Necromancer guide, no pun intended. Now, I had to make a choice between either this build or the Trags build, and the reason I chose this build and not the Trags build is because Dragool's is just too well known. Everybody knows it, and there's just too much plethora of information on how to build that build and how to play it. Alright, the major weakness I'm seeing with Necromancers right now is that they do not have speed builds meant for leveling low gems or farming T13 for rifts, for stones, which you need to do in order to do grifts. So that's what this guide is meant to fix. Now, there are pros and cons to every build, and there's the pros and cons. I'm not going to say that the Light Wizard is faster than this build, or this build is faster than the Light Wizard. Alright, these two builds really collide with each other. They're very neck and neck in terms of speed and doing things. But Light Wizard is still better, Griff 70 plus, just simply because this build is too squishy. It deals an incredible amount of damage, but it's just a bit squishy. So once you reach past Griff 70, it just ain't all that good. Now, this guide is going to be split into two parts, alright? The first part is going to be going over every other YouTube guide. It's going to be going over gear, Paragon, the cube, and all that other nonsense, the standard YouTube guide. Now, the second part is going to do what every other YouTuber doesn't do. This is why I'm so shocked as to why this build isn't being ran, because there's a YouTuber out there, his name is Lord Fluffy, all right? His guide on this exact build has 175,000 views, and it's very well rated. And I'm wondering to myself, a build, like 175,000 views in one season, like, how is nobody using this build with that many likes? Why is no Necromancer using this build? And the reason being is because when I tried this build for the first time, I was dying left and right, and I couldn't. It was horrid. It was really, really hard to play, and I had to figure out how to play it. So the second part is going to be showing you guys how to actually play the build, and that will hopefully fix up a lot of mix-up and confusion as to what's going on, and hopefully we can get this build a lot more meta, because this definitely competes with a Light Wizard in terms of speed. It's very, very fast, and it's very, very fun. So without further ado, let's get into it. Hey guys, what's going on? So for this guide, we're going to change it up a bit. Usually I'm actually in game and I'm showing you my character and my stats, and it's not really actually applicable in terms of what you're really trying to roll for, alright? So for this, I'm going to be using D3 Planner. I've literally created the perfect build for this, and you'll be able to see exactly what stats you're going to be running for, alright? Two things right before we get into it, alright? Any item that you can roll cooldown reduction into, roll cooldown reduction into it. And any item that you can roll increased glow pickup radius to, try to get it, alright? You don't want to roll for it, but it's nice to have it, alright? Cooldown reduction is the #1 stat, alright? So every single item that you can roll cooldown reduction on, roll cooldown reduction on it. Alright, so let's get into it. So what you're going to be running first is your Scythe of Cycle. High base damage, 10% damage, 1000 intelligence, reduced cooldown of 10%, and secondary 20 maximum essence. Try to get that maximum essence. For your boots, Rothmas, intelligence, vitality, armor, skeletal mage damage, and then golden health pickup. For your phylactery, try to get lost time. It doesn't really matter. Lost time is just kind of a bonus because you can use it with your Land of the Dead. But you want the stats, which is base damage, intelligence, crit chance, cooldown reduction, and skeletal mage damage. For your pants, Rothmas, again, intelligence, vitality, armor, golden health pickup. For your rings, Julian's Love is one that you actually do want to equip because it rolls crit hit damage guaranteed. Alright, you want to try to get crit cooldown socket. Alright, that's what you want. For your next, it can be Ring of Royal Grandeur or Prison Sentence. It doesn't really matter. Because both of them are guaranteed to roll an attack speed stat, you cannot get crit cooldown. But you can get attack speed, crit cooldown socket, alright? And that's what you want, alright? Attack speed, crit hit damage, cooldown socket. Not crit hit chance, crit hit damage, alright? For your belt, Vigilante, intelligence, vitality, percent life, and then reduce cooldown. For your gloves, you're going to want intelligence, crit hit damage, crit hit chance, and reduce cooldown. You do not want quadfecta gloves. You do not want increased attack speed in those or in your Scythe of Cycle for a reason. I'll be explaining that in part 2. For Rothmas spikes, intelligence, vitality, percent life, and reduced cooldown. For your armor, Requiem Plate, intelligence, vitality, percent life, gold health pickup, 3 sockets, and then try to get high base stats on that FX, alright? For your bracers, physical damage, intelligence, vitality, crit hit chance, and then the gold pickup and everything again. For your amulet, Haunted Visions, crit cooldown socket. If you can try physical crit cooldown socket, or then that's fine. But you really want crit cooldown socket. Make sure that you have cooldown socket guaranteed. That's what you absolutely. That's the bare bones minimum is cooldown socket. All right. For your helm, Rothma's Skull Helm, 1000 intelligence, 1000 vitality, crit hit chance, and then socket for the diamond. Do not run vitality into skeletal mage damage. You're gonna want your vitality, I promise you. We'll be explaining that a little more in part 2. For skills, Devour, Cannibalize, Blood Rush, Metabolism, Land of the Dead, Frozen Lands, Simulacrum, Reservoir, Bone Armor, Dislocation, and Skeletal Mage, Singularity. I'll be explaining how everything kind of synergizes in part 2 and how you're doing damage, but right now we're just getting the build. Alright, for your passives, Final Service, Overwhelming Essence, Dark Reaping, and Blood is Power. Alright, for your cube, Ingeome, Tasker and Theo, Ring of Royal Grandeur, or Chrisbin Sense. You need to have Julian's Love equipped, but Ring of Royal Grandeur or Chrisbin Sense can be used in here. Alright, for your gems, make sure you're running Band of Powerful, Band of Trapped, and Enforcer. Do not use Zystone. You're going to be pretty close to targets, so it's kind of, you're working against yourself by using Zystone. Make sure that for your legs and your armor, you're running Topazes, and then in your helm, you are running a Diamond. For Paragon points, for your core, number 1, maximum essence, then 25% movement speed, dump the rest into intelligence. For offense, cooldown reduction first, then crit hit damage, crit hit chance, attack speed increase. For defense, armor, life, resist all, and then life per second. For utility, resource cost reduction, life per hit, gold find, and then area damage. People are starting to veer away from area damage because Blizzard can't really, for some reason, figure out their shit when it comes to doing their damage calculations and not lagging out the game. And you're not going to be really grouping anything with this build, so area damage doesn't have a very high effect. It's definitely the best stat in the game when you have everything grouped, but you're not going to have anything grouped. So it's kind of like a whatever stat. So that is the build, guys. I will see you in part 2 for actually explaining how everything is incorporating and synergizing together to actually deal damage and do what it needs to do. And then I will be showing you some combos and then what to do to kill elites in the gameplay. And hope to see you there. Take it easy.